People in my village always say that I killed 7 children before I learned to love my own daughter. That's not quite true, but it's close enough that I don't correct people when they whisper it at the market. Let them think what they want. The truth is worse than their rumors, and if you have 15 minutes, I'll tell you exactly what I mean. My name is Amara, and this is the story of how I traded my daughter's soul to a water spirit, how every child in my village lost their voice because of my greed, and how I learned that the things we want most desperately can destroy us if we are not careful. If you have children, you need to hear this. If you want children, you really need to hear this. And if you've ever made a promise you knew you couldn't keep, well, sit down. This concerns you too. It started 7 years before the children went silent. In the village of Kwenin, there lived a woman named Amara who had everything a person could want: a loving husband named Kofi, a successful trading business, a beautiful compound with walls painted the color of sunset, and respect from everyone who knew her. But Amara had one sorrow that ate at her heart like termites through wood: she had no children. For 7 years, she and Kofi had prayed to the ancestors. For 7 years, she had visited every herbalist from the coast to the mountains. For 7 years, she had endured the pitying looks of other women at the market, their babies strapped to their backs while her own back remained empty. One night, during the full moon, Amara could bear it no longer. While Kofi slept, she wrapped herself in a dark cloth and walked to the edge of the village, to the place everyone whispered about but no one visited, the abandoned shrine of Mamiwata, the water spirit who had been forgotten when the new church was built. The shrine was overgrown with vines, but the mirror that hung at its center still gleamed as if it had been polished that very day. Amara had heard the stories her grandmother told, that Mamiwata could grant any wish, but her gifts always came with a price no one expected. Amara knelt before the mirror. In its surface, she saw not her own reflection, but something else, something that moved beneath the glass like water disturbed by a stone. "I will give anything," Amara whispered. "Anything to hold a child of my own." The mirror rippled. A voice emerged, neither male nor female, old nor young, speaking in a language Amara understood in her bones rather than her ears. "Anything is a dangerous promise, daughter of the land. But I will accept it. You will have a child, the most beautiful child ever born in this village. But on the child's 7th birthday, you must bring them to this mirror. If you refuse, every child in Kwenin will forget how to speak, and the silence will be yours to carry." Amara hesitated for only a heartbeat. 7 years seemed like forever. 7 years was more than she had now. "I accept," she said. 3 months later, Amara discovered she was pregnant. The joy in her compound was like a festival. Kofi slaughtered a goat, her sisters came from neighboring villages, and even the pastor who had quietly judged her barrenness came to offer prayers of thanksgiving. When the baby was born, the midwife gasped. The child was indeed the most beautiful anyone had ever seen, skin smooth as river stones, as bright as stars, a smile that seemed to carry sunshine in it. They named her Zoe, which means beautiful, and it was no exaggeration. Zoe grew quickly, and she was everything a parent could dream of. She learned to walk at 9 months, to speak in full sentences by her 2nd year, to read by her 3rd. She sang like the birds at dawn and drew pictures that made grown men weep. Everywhere Zoe went, people stopped to marvel at her. But as Zoe's 7th birthday approached, Amara began to have terrible dreams. In them, She saw the mirror at the shrine, and in its depths, she saw not water but shadows with grasping hands. She would wake in a cold sweat, her heart hammering, Kofi asking her what was wrong. Just a bad dream, she would lie. Nothing to worry about. She had never told Kofi about that night at the shrine. How could she explain that the child he loved more than his own breath was bought with a promise she had no intention of keeping? On the morning of Zoe's 7th birthday, the whole village gathered to celebrate. There would be music, dancing, food, and gifts. Amara had spent weeks preparing, trying to drown out the voice in her head that reminded her of her promise. Mama, Zoe said that morning, her beautiful eyes looking into Amara's, I had a strange dream last night. A woman with water for hair told me to tell you, a promise delayed is a promise betrayed. Amara's blood ran cold. It was just a dream, my sweet one. Pay it no mind. But as the party began, strange things started happening. First, the drummer's youngest son opened his mouth to sing and no sound came out. Then the chief's grandchildren, who had been laughing and playing, went suddenly silent, their mouths moving but producing nothing. Within an hour, every child in the village under the age of 7 had lost their voice. Panic spread like wildfire. Parents wept, herbalists were summoned, the pastor prayed until his voice went hoarse. But nothing worked. The children pointed at their throats, tears streaming down their faces, but they could make no sound. And Amara knew. She knew with a certainty that felt like stones in her stomach. She found Kofi in the crowd. I have to tell you something, she said, her voice breaking. 7 years ago, I made a terrible mistake. When Amara finished her confession, Kofi's face went through 1,000 emotions, shock, anger, betrayal, and finally, a deep sadness that seemed to age him 10 years in moments. How could you? He whispered. How could you make such a bargain without telling me? I was desperate, Amara sobbed. I wanted a child so badly. I thought I could outsmart a spirit. I thought 7 years was long enough to find a way out. I was a fool. They looked at Zoe, who stood apart from the silent children, her voice the only child's voice that remained. She looked back at them with those impossibly beautiful eyes, and in that moment, she seemed older than her 7 year. I know what must be done, Zoe said quietly. I've always known, Mama. In my dreams, the water woman told me. I am not entirely yours, am I? Part of me belongs to the mirror. No. Amara cried. I won't let her take you. But even as she said it, she looked at the silent children around them, some of whom she had helped deliver into this world, all of them suffering because of her selfish choice. The village elder, a woman named Grandmother Nola, stepped forward. She had been quiet throughout the commotion, but now she spoke with the authority of her 90 years. There are old magics in this land, she said, older than the church, older than memory. Mamiwata does not forget, and she does not forgive those who break their promises. But she respects courage and truth. Take the child to the shrine. See what the water spirit truly wants. Sometimes the price we fear and the price we pay are not the same thing. And so, as the sun began to set, Amara and Kofi walked with Zoe to the abandoned shrine. The entire village followed at a distance, a silent procession of parents holding their voiceless children. The shrine looked different in the evening light, not abandoned but alive, the vines seeming to pulse with green energy, the mirror glowing with an otherworldly luminescence. Amara stood before it, holding Zoe's hand so tightly she thought she might crush it. "I've brought her," Amara said to the mirror. "I've kept my promise. But I'm begging you, take me instead. Punish me for my deception, but let my daughter live. Let the children speak again." The mirror rippled, and the voice emerged once more. "Do you think I want your child, daughter of the land? Do you think I am some monster who devours the innocent?" Amara blinked, confused. "But you said..." "I said you must bring her to the mirror on her 7th birthday. I did not say I would take her from you." The surface of the mirror began to clear, and instead of shadows, Amara saw images forming. She saw herself 7 years ago, desperate and lonely, saw the moment of Zoe's birth, saw every day of joy and laughter and love that had followed. "You made a promise in darkness," the voice continued, "seeking only what you wanted, not understanding what you needed. I gave you Zoe not as a loan, but as a lesson. The price I demanded was never your child. The price was this moment, the moment when you would have to choose between keeping what you love and saving others from suffering." "I don't understand," Amara whispered. "Look at your daughter," the voice said. Amara looked down at Zoe, and for the first time, she truly saw her, not as the most beautiful child in the village, not as the answer to her prayers, not as the proof of her worth as a woman, but as a person. A person with her own spirit, her own destiny, her own connection to the world. "She is not yours alone," the voice said. "She never was. She belongs to herself, to her father, to her village, to the earth and sky and water. You sought to possess a child to fill the emptiness inside you. But a child is not a thing to be owned. This is what you needed to learn." Tears streamed down Amara's face. "I understand now," she said. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "The lesson is learned," the voice said, gentler now. "But there is still the matter of the broken promise. You said you would bring her, but in your heart, you planned to refuse. For that deception, there must be a price." Amara's heart clenched. "Name it. I'll pay it. Just let the children speak again. The price is this: every year on this day, you must come to this shrine and tell your story to anyone who will listen. You must share what you learned, that children are not possessions, that promises have weight, that quick solutions to deep pain often carry hidden costs. You must become a keeper of warnings, a teller of truths." Relief and shame washed over Amara in equal measure. "That's all." "That's everything," the voice replied. "Truth-telling is the hardest work in the world." The mirror flashed bright, and then all at once, the air was filled with sound, the crying and laughing and chattering of children whose voices had returned. The village erupted in celebration, parents clutching their children, giving thanks to the ancestors, to God, to whatever force had shown mercy. Years passed. Zoe grew into a woman as beautiful inside as she was outside, and she became a teacher in the village, helping children learn to read and write and think for themselves. She married a kind man from the next village and had children of her own, children she raised with love but never possession, always remembering the story of how she came to be. Amara kept her promise. Every year on Zoe's birthday, she would sit at the shrine, which was no longer abandoned but tended and honored again, and she would tell her story to anyone who came to listen. Young women who were struggling to conceive came to hear her. parents who were too controlling came to hear her. Anyone who thought they could bargain their way to happiness without understanding the true cause came to hear her. And she would always end her story the same way. I asked for a child to fill the emptiness inside me. What I learned is that no person can fill another person's emptiness. That work must be done from within. The greatest gift Mamiwata gave me was not my daughter, it was showing me how to love without possessing, how to hold without grasping, how to cherish what is precious while understanding that all precious things ultimately belong to themselves and to the world. The children of the village grew up hearing this story, and they passed it on to their children, who passed it on to theirs. And in this way, Amara's mistake became the village's wisdom, her pain became their protection, and the mirror child became a story that would never be forgotten. A reminder that the things we want most desperately are often not what we need, and that true love means letting go of the need to possess. If you are just encountering this channel for the first time, please subscribe and give a thumbs up.